Yeah, I'm ready for to move on to do the good.
Okay, give me your good of week 3.
I I was gonna go with the Lions. Actually, I'm gonna keep in the NFC North. They did what they had to do. The Falcons, their defense is what was good. I thought their offense wasn't super impressive this game.
Mm-hmm.
That's why, like, I was debating what one of the two NFC North teams I wanted to put into the good and great. The reason I chose the route I did was because I did not actually think the Lions' offense was all that good this week. I think their defense did an excellent job holding Bijan Robinson to what was that, 36 yards rushing, I think it was, or somewhere around. That was a low number.
33.
And
Yep.
33. Okay. Oh, sorry. And then and the Algier too. He was held low yardage, and they did a great job turning the Falcons into a passing team, which you'll see why I dislike the Falcons at the beginning of the year when they get turned into a passing team. Ritter is not a very good quarterback, in my opinion. But the Lions defense, the beginning of the game, they were talking about, 1 sack in 2 weeks. That changed overnight. I forget what they get, 7.
7. Yep.
Um, so that was excellent adjustment. I loved what the Lions defense did. They led the whole game. They dismantled the 2-0 team, and they came back after a very tough loss against the Seahawks, which is encouraging to see because we all know the Lions. It wouldn't be unlike the Lion history to all of a sudden lose a close game like that to the Seahawks and then lose another game afterwards. So that was my good for the week.
Yeah, I that was a good they handled business. I'm surprised that the Falcons kind of abandoned the run game because even though the Lions handled business, they only ran the ball 17 times, which is not their MO. They usually run like 40 times a game. What I'm saying, like Tyler Algier and Robinson there. You think they would have ran the ball more. They let Ritter pass it 38 times. We'll talk about him in 1 second, but um, you're right. I don't want this to be like fool's gold. Oh, Brian Branch. Can we just mention how he was all over the field, like 11 tackles? He looks like
Oh,
he's going to be able to replace CJ Gardner Johnson. Okay, like he was a really good pick by Detroit.
oh
Um,
yeah.
I still think they need to look. I can't, when we get closer to trade deadline, I want to actually talk about trade deadline moves at another pass rusher because part of it was the offensive line, but part of it was Ritter. He was just holding onto the ball for too long.
Oh yeah.
And so with that being said, should the Falcons move on from Ritter? Like, have you seen enough, or do you think like he's young? Let's see what he does, and then in like 2 or 3 weeks, you can reevaluate it.
I didn't think it was that great to begin with, but move on to who?
Cousins, Kirk Cousins is out there, man, and
There's
um,
one team that should trade for Kirk Cousins, and it's not the Falcons.
well, I'm just saying though, like if you're the Falcons and you look at this NFC South, right? It's not like the greatest division, and
No.
all of a sudden you could have a quarterback at the level of the other quarterbacks performing, and you might not have to give up a lot for him. And I love their weapons. I just think their quarter. I kind of agree with you. I just don't know what to take away from Ritter. He didn't look good.
If you can get Cousins, I don't think it's a bad choice. Because the positive about what you were saying, that they could do it, I don't think it'll cost a ton. Um, and he's actually leading the league in passing yards.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
so it's not like you're not getting a good. And dude, I have gained so much respect watching a couple of Vikings games for Kirk Cousins. That guy takes a beating.
yeah.
So I could see why that would be a good choice. So, yeah, no, if you do it, I'd move on. The NFC South is right for the picking. As much as I think the Bucks should win it, it's so right for the picking. If you change Ritter to Cousins, I will be very concerned about the Falcons.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree. Okay, so good Lions. Laporta, by the way, also really good
Yeah,
draft pick by
I
Brad Holmes.
I forgot to mention. I actually had that guy in my mind because since he's been every game 5 catches, since
Hmm.
he's been like excellent pick. And like I said, I just didn't. I wasn't overly impressed with the offense, but one person I wasn't been impressed with all year so far through week 3, is wow,
Laporta.
Laporta.
Yeah,
Yeah, sorry.
Laporta. Yeah,
But he's been
once they
a
get
lot of fun to watch.
Williamson back,
Oh yeah,
yeah, or Jameson Williams, not Williamson, Williams back, they're going to be explosive
oh yeah.
again. Yeah. My good is CJ Stroud and the Texans, but I wanted to hit on CJ Stroud specifically. The Texans beat the favorites, the Jacksonville Jaguars, 37-17, I think the score was. And the so Stroud right now, he has 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He's already have over 900 yards passing. His completion percentage is at 64.5%. He is playing really well considering the environment around him. And out of the 3 young quarterbacks, I'd say that were drafted in like the top 10, he was the one that most people were skeptical about. And it looks like he might be the best of the 3 so far. So I think that's fairly interesting. And then just the other good that came out of this was the fullback that ran the 85-yard kick return for a touchdown. I don't know how the Jaguars allowed that, but that was pretty interesting to watch. So I have the Houston Texans in general, but especially CJ Stroud in my good this week.
Oh yeah, he's an early favorite for Rookie of the Year, I would say.
I agree.
I mean, it's not breaking news to say quarterback's an early favorite. Um, he's been looking like the best quarterback in the class. I mean, I liked Anthony Richardson when he wasn't injured, but he's still looking solid. If you're a Texan fan, you got to be pretty excited about it. And you know what? Um, I'm hoping it turns out as like one of those wins that the Texans can look back and be like, we beat the Jaguars and they became this team this year. That's what I'm hoping. Right now though, it looks like you beat the Jaguars, and I don't feel like I have to explain that even more.
No, you're
So
right.
it's so
Yeah, we'll talk about the Jags too in our next segment. So, but yeah, so Stroud, good for you Texans fans. It looks like you had, and what I like about him over Richardson's doing a lot with his legs. And we know how, again, we don't want to fall for that Justin Fields type syndrome where it's like he's always running and we're like getting excited about, but then he doesn't become the passer that you need at quarterback. Where Stroud, he's doing it with his arm, which is impressive.
Oh, I'd agree 100% with that.